Hello and welcome to today's vlog. We're going to scoot through quite a few things because this is the last one that we're looking at our life in Doncaster. So just a few things that I want to mention. First of all, we got involved in something called Healing on the Street. So once a month we went out on the front of our church priory, right in the town centre. There was a nice little courtyard there. So we and some folk from other churches went out once a month. We put up this big banner that said healing. We put out some chairs and invited anybody who wanted to just to come and sit on a chair, and we would pray for God to touch them with his healing touch. And that was a fantastic time. A bit scary again, but we felt it was something God was wanting us to do. And everybody who we prayed for I believe everybody was influenced or touched or felt God's presence in some way. Some were physically healed, others not, but they felt that love of God.
And we were really encouraged, weren't we, by the number of people who came back the next month to say, thank you very much, this has happened or that has happened. So that was really good.
Excellent. And I should mention that after 5 years in Doncaster, I was asked to be minister of another church, Alder Grove Methodist Church, which I didn't really fancy initially because I thought I was focusing on the one church, but actually it was a real blessing to be part of that fellowship at Alder Grove, and we made some very good friends there. And then a little bit later, I was given another church, Cowhouse Wesley, a smaller church quite close to the town centre. So we had at one time 3 churches that I was looking after, but we had good fellowship between the 3, and that was something very positive. Another thing that we did at Priory was we had these what we called gazebo days. So once a month we set up a gazebo outside church on the courtyard, and we put out information. We also put out some candles for people to light to offer prayer, and that really began after 9/11 when we put out a little store with candles on. People were lining up actually to light a candle. Something very special about being able to do that and offer prayer. So we gave away leaflets, information. So that was another positive thing. One occasion I can't remember the exact occasion it was, but we decided we'd open Priory. Remember, it's right in the town centre for a 24-hour period, completely open to anybody to come in, and prayer would be going on all that time. So that was another experience, probably the first time in its history, going back to 1832, that Priory has been open completely for a 24-hour period. People came in, even during the night, people came in and they were prayed with and talked to and given refreshments. So that was a wonderful experience as well. Do you want to talk a little bit about your work?
Yes, I learned about something that I've not done for a long time, was the daily commute. First of all with my friend in the car, and then I used to have to go on the train, and the rush hour train to Sheffield. I think I got a seat about half a dozen times in the number of years that I used to go on the train. But I met some brilliant people during that time, and I worked with some amazing students. And I also did a bit of extra study myself on the postgraduate level, which was quite interesting, in disability studies. You'd done an MA while we'd been in Sheffield, haven't you? And that was really good.
So, some great experiences in Doncaster, and in the Methodist Church, you usually go initially for a 5-year period, and our first 5 years was extended, so we were given an invitation for another 5 years. And then we had to think about what comes after, and we decided to offer, if we wanted, to stay another 2 years, so that made 12 in all. And then we decided that it was time to move on, which was quite difficult in some ways because it meant leaving behind many very good friends we'd made in Doncaster, but also our first granddaughter, Beth, had been born at the end of May when we were going to be leaving, so we had to leave her and her mum and dad, Steph and Matt, behind. But the good news is that through the weird workings of the Methodist system, and it would take far too long to explain how this works, we were invited to come and look at a situation in the Leicester West Methodist Circuit with 3 churches, Glenfield, Markfield and New Parks. And we came down and we met the folk, and they thought, well, these couple are reasonably okay. They didn't know us then. And we thought these folk are okay. So we decided this was a good move for us. And the additional blessing, apart from coming here, was that our son Chris and his wife Megan and their first son, our first grandchild, Max, had been born in the January of 2012. So although we were leaving some family behind, we're actually coming to live not too far from another part of our family. So that was a blessing. So by August 2012, we arrived in Leicester.
Can I say something about we went to a conference just before the process started, or some start, and we could have somebody prophesy over us at the time, and it was a bit more wacky than we'd expected this conference. And I was thinking, Lord, please don't let anybody too wacky be the ones who are prophesying over us. But we sat down, they didn't know anything about us, and they started talking about the next stage of our ministry. And they said, it's like you will be walking along the beach, holding hands together and just walking to the next place. And it was like that in many ways, wasn't it? We feel that it's been a really good match year. And we've been very happy.
We have indeed. And next time we're going to talk a little bit about our time here in Leicester. And we're coming towards the 8th and our final year of active ministry here in Leicester before we retire and move back to good old Donny. Incidentally, most people in Doncaster call it Donny, not Doncaster. But there you go. So if we talk about Donny, it's not Donny Osmond or something like that, it's Doncaster. So again, thanks for listening. Tomorrow we dive into our time in Leicester. God bless.